After about 2 weeks of testimony and evidence, a jury is deliberating on if Christian Bahina Rivera is guilty in the murder of Molly Tibbetts.
This is a case that took 2 years to get to court, and we've been following it from the very beginning. Molly Tibbetts was reported missing July of 2018, and a month later, after nationwide searches, her body was discovered in a cornfield August 21st. Christian Bahina Rivera was charged with murder in the case, but would not stand trial for more than 2 years. It was pushed back for a number of reasons, including how big and well-known the case had become, and then the pandemic.
Our Barrett Leone joins us now live in the studio with an update. Barrett.
Well, Tom, Caitlin, the jury has now recessed after about 4 hours of deliberation. If they find him guilty of first-degree murder, it would be a mandatory sentence of life in prison.
We are in the presence of the jury.
In closing arguments Thursday, State Prosecutor Scott Brown urged jurors to find Christian Bahina Rivera guilty, laying out 4 main points of evidence: surveillance video, physical evidence, Bahina Rivera leading authorities to Tibbetts' body, and lastly, the defendant's own words.
There is no false confession, for goodness sakes. If the defendant falsely confesses, how does he take them to Molly Tibbetts? He knows where she's at. It's the one piece of evidence in this case, the one circumstance that completely cuts that argument down to the ground.
Wednesday, the defendant switched stories while on the stand in his own defense. Instead of blacking out, he claims that 2 men came and killed Tibbetts, threatening to hurt his family if he didn't stay quiet.
He was angry. The words came from his mouth. The defendant is a yes man. Not yesterday, he wasn't. He gave you a whole new story.
Brown says this switch actually helps prove the state's case.
He knows after sitting through all this evidence, he's under a pretty big rock, right? And he's got to come up with something else. He's got to come up with a story to describe or explain away why he led the officers to the body.
The defense, on the other hand,
Molly Tibbetts deserves justice, but so does Christian Bahina.
Defense attorney Chad Freeze has put the investigation under scrutiny from the beginning, pointing to specific DNA evidence that didn't match.
What is missing? Because there's a lot missing in this case.
And what he says is a coerced confession.
We dispute greatly that what they attribute to Christian Bahina as a statement can be characterized as a confession. Absolutely cannot be. Absolutely cannot be.
Defense also asking why Tibbetts' boyfriend, Jack Dalton, wasn't fully investigated and instead targeted Bahina Rivera.
Some of the investigation was sloppy, but it really got sloppy when Christian Bahina Rivera got targeted. Because folks, what happened here was they closed a case. They didn't solve a case.
And the jury wrapped up for the night around 5 o'clock and will resume deliberations at 8:30 tomorrow morning.